Hey everyone, I'm Insetic, and just like I did with Amped 1, where I came back to the game after beating it to cover each level's Explore challenges, I'm coming back to Amped 2 now to cover those levels' Own the Mountain challenges. Now, though this is called an Own the Mountain guide, I'll only really be focusing on gaps and snowmen and not doing tricks. One, because gaps and snowmen are the collectibles you need to hunt down, and two, because the tricks are mostly self-explanatory. Certain more difficult tricks, like Stomp the Landing tricks, can be focused on their specific video, but overall, I will not be covering tricks as part of this. So what will this series format be like? Well, each main level will have its own video, and first I will cover snowmen, since there are 8 of those for someone to hunt down and find, and then I will cover gaps afterwards. A quick tip I'm showing now is to make your speech louder than the sound effects or music, so that you can hear the snowmen better when you get close to them. A deviation from what my Amped 1 Explore guide did is that in this guide I will not be doing separate runs for each snowman and gap, and going by the order they are in the pause menu per se. Instead, I'll do a few runs for each where I consolidate multiple snowmen or gaps into those runs, and then show separate ones where there's one lingerer that you cannot get on the path where you got multiple others. This is mostly for video and time efficiency, but also that it's probably more useful to see collectibles' relation to each other rather than their relation to a specific drop point. But on that note, within both the snowman section and the gap section, I'll be further breaking them up and sorting them by the drop point that you start at, and I'll be ordering them by the list shown in-game. Whichever drop point is first, I will go to first. So for Millicent 1, we started on Evergreen, and then we will go to Main Street afterwards to cover those snowmen and those gaps when we get to that segment. So from Evergreen, we saw 4 snowmen we could get. 1 by the frozen river near the start of the path, then 2 on the very left side, pretty close to each other, and 1 on that path that leads towards the middle of the mountain, where Evergreen and Main Street can eventually intersect. From Main Street, we will get the other 4 snowmen, and the first on this run is kind of next to the leftmost path after they split after the half pipe. Then we ride back to the middle path, and we will stay on the left side of that, because the snowmen will be here behind some trees and a rail that make it sort of tough to get over if you haven't gotten around early. Then we will kind of head in a straight line, and the next snowman is on the left path after all of that park section on the right side of the curvy rail. And then we will continue on, and where this path intersects with the one that curved wide and around, there's the 8th snowman right there, right in the way for you to jump and do some stylish flip trick after smashing him. So, we'll ride to the bottom of the run and see what we get now that we have all 8. So, you will actually gain a rank when you get 5 of 8 snowmen, in the same way you get a rank when you get 3 of 5 tricks or 3 of 5 gaps, basically finding more than half of that type of collectible. So speaking of gaps, let's go back to Evergreen now and look at those. Now it's obvious that a lot of the gaps on the early levels are designed for you to have low stats. You know, like have the stats you have when you would get to that level initially. And unfortunately for me, I'll be approaching these levels with a bunch of characters with high stats that have gotten near the end of the game. So you may see me have to use some finesse to get a gap to work, where if you go for the gaps when you get to the level, or in this case, just start the game, you could probably just ride and jump and grind on the wire. But you'll see some gaps that are a jump into a grind. In that case, you will need to land in a grind, or at least hit the rail with a failed stall if you hit the Y button, and you will see other gaps that are just a jump to an area. Those gaps are probably the toughest, because sometimes it is very specific what area you need to land in. You need to follow the path in the air of the gap pretty well, and sometimes there's no just coming close. Sometimes you need to be fairly precise. There are a few gaps that are rail to rail along the way, and I think those are probably the easiest. But So we got 3 gaps in one run on Evergreen, and we will get the other 2 here on Main Street. You may have noticed I didn't give a lot of specifics to the locations of the snowmen or gaps. I think a picture is worth 1,000 words, and I have the video going on in the background, but that 5th gap is on the very rightmost path that curves all the way around, and that will be down near the end. So, for getting all tricks, gaps, snowmen, and completing the high-scoring media goals, you get an extra rank and you unlock an Own the Mountain video. For Millicent 1, it would be about snow skating. I will not be showing those videos just in case they have copyrighted music. So that is the video from Millicent 1, and next we'll go to Breckenridge. I want to give a big thank you to ktwo, who did a 100% speedrun and hosted on speeddemosarchive. That means, of course, he showed off all of the locations for snowmen and gaps and made mounted overviews showing where each snowman and gap was. So I'll link his run and his mountain overview for a level in the description of those. And so yeah, make sure to check those out. And again, I'll see you next video for Breckenridge. Thanks for watching.